Afghan refugees, accepting Afghan refugees into the United States. I know last hour, General McKenzie did say that they have screened over 104,000 people, and we've had thousands of Afghans already accepted into the U.S. And I wanted to get an immigration attorney on the show today. Joining me is Naeem Shakia. He is an attorney at law, an immigration attorney. Naeem, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Now, I know we often talk about what's happening along the border, but let's focus more on what's happening in Afghanistan, those fleeing the country and coming to the U.S. What's the process for someone in Afghanistan to come to the U.S.?
Well, it is very, very dicey right now. As we know, there was an explosion today, and so many people have lost their lives. So my heart goes out to all of them, especially our servicemen. And as far as the legality or legal process goes, essentially what administration is doing right now is trying to get as many people out of Afghanistan as possible, place them in third countries, especially in the Middle Eastern countries and Eastern European countries, so that they can stay there temporarily, and then their applications for special immigrant visas can be processed. I've heard news that there is conversation going on between the U.S. government and the Colombian government as well to house a few thousand refugees over there. Well, they're not technically refugees. They are special immigrant visa applicants. It's just that the application process has taken a very long time, and understandably so, because there's a lot of vetting which has to go through. We don't want people coming into the United States who intend to do us harm. Yeah. So obviously there's so much which has to be done very carefully. So what we are hearing now is that the first thing is to get everybody out. The application processing will happen once they are in safe places on a temporary basis. So that's the latest which is going on. Now, how this explosion today will change that, I think we have yet to see that.
Yeah, I know you mentioned right now that the U.S. is working with Colombia, and I think I read somewhere earlier today that even Mexico has accepted some Afghans. I know you said they're not refugees; they are special immigration visa holders. Do you know any other country that has either reached out to the U.S. and said, "Hey, we're willing to accept some Afghans for now, while all of this kind of calms down and while the application process goes through"?
Yeah, so the reaching out portion is actually happening from the United States side. It's just a question of is anybody being receptive and agreeing to that overture. So what we have seen is Qatar is one place, Germany perhaps, the air bases over there. As far as the Eastern European countries are concerned, I don't know the exact names of the countries who we are talking to, but in South America, definitely, because the reason is like in Colombia, they are hoping that they will be able to place these individuals on a temporary basis in hotels, and the United States will be paying for those hotels. So essentially, it's a dollar flow towards those countries, which is main incentive for them. One thing which is uncertain at this time and which is being negotiated is what happens to those people who ultimately fail to get those visas, and they are not able to be flown into the United States, and they're not able to go back to Afghanistan either. So what happens to those people? And I think that is one big sticking point where countries who we are approaching perhaps have some concern.
Joining me on News Talk 710 KURV is Naeem Shakia. He is an immigration attorney. Naeem, oftentimes you've joined us throughout the months to talk about what's happening along the border. And I'm just thinking about this, that Congressman Cuellar, who is here in Texas, has told me before that anywhere between 88 to 90% of people who are crossing the border illegally and claim to have or claim asylum do not have a valid asylum claim. When it comes to those in Afghanistan, I know you bring up right now just what about those Afghans who won't be able to get their visas or won't be able to return back to Afghanistan, whatever the case is there something particular or specifically for Afghans, if say we do have Afghans, because I'm pretty sure it's inevitable if it's not already happening right now, Afghans crossing our southern border, are they seen differently? Are they processed differently than those coming from the Northern Triangle?
No, so see, the thing is, Afghans who are trying to come to the United States are in a very different category from an asylum seeker we see on our southern border. The person who is coming into the United States seeking asylum from Southern America is coming on its own. But these people who are being flown into United States or other places from Afghanistan, they were basically told that they will be given the
Okay.
immigrant status into United States in return of the services they have provided. So, they are very different in that sense.
Okay. Before we go, Naeem, is there anything else that you'd like to let us know when it comes to? Oh, I just thought of something. I know that Fort Bliss is a location here in Texas that, according to the administration, they're going to open up for accepting Afghans to come to the U.S. Do you know of any other places that they're, I guess, going to be sent at while they either wait for the process, or they're going to be housed there permanently? What's going to happen with those thousands of Afghans that are coming to the U.S.?
Yeah, so Fort Bliss is one location. Fort McCoy is another place where people are being told that they need to be ready to receive Afghan refugees, or at least some of them. So those are the two locations which have been designated by the Department of Defense last, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And those people are still being awaited at this time. So there are two locations, and I think in Fort Bliss they have capacity to hold about 8,000 people. So there's a lot of room available. And the number of people who we are expecting to come in very shortly is about 3,000.
3,000. Okay. Well, Naeem, I'm sure I'm going to have you on the program very, very soon. Thank you so much for always making yourself available to us here on 710 KURV. That is Naeem Sakia, an immigration attorney, our guest on News Talk 710 KURV.